Welcome back here to Mighty Mac on YouTube. Once again, if you guys enjoy the content we provide here, then be sure to subscribe to the channel today so you don't miss any of the upcoming action as we head into the summer months. We're going to have a lot to look forward to heading into the 70th edition of the U.S. Nationals, including the countdown to the championship. So if you want to keep up with what's going on in the NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series season, then subscribe today to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming content. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So the Northwest Nationals has wrapped up in Seattle, Washington at Pacific Raceways. What an incredible event. I'm going to be straight up honest, I didn't get to watch too much of it. I was out at IMS today for the Brickyard 400, so I was watching in the grandstands when I had time because it was pretty much a single file parade. So I did try to watch as much of it as I could, but with what was going on with data connection, there wasn't much I was able to do, but we did keep up through the round eliminations, and I do have the notes to look forward to. The big news coming in this weekend, obviously, is the update on John Force Racing. They have somewhat announced their plans for John Force's Peak Funny Car, which was last seen back at Virginia following John's incident. The news that came out this earlier in the weekend heading into Seattle was that Robert Height talked to someone from NHRA.com, and they have revealed that the plan is that car will return to competition at Brainerd, but the first time we're going to see it on track is in Norwalk for Night Under Fire. They're going to use that as kind of a warm-up session to get the car ready, so that way when they head to Brainerd, it's all systems go as they try to win a championship. A driver has not been named yet for who's going to be in that car. There has been a name that is circulating throughout the paddock. Expect that name probably to come out soon within the coming weeks because the event is August 3rd. As of 21st, you have about maybe a week to get it out there. So either they can get it out then, or we're going to see his face when they get to Norwalk for Night Under Fire. So it's going to be a very interesting story as we get set for Brainerd. It's going to add a lot of anticipation heading into the 70th edition of the U.S. Nationals, as leaving Seattle right now, John Force is unofficially 5th in the countdown. With the way the rules are written, whoever is in that car is still going to be able to score points for John Force. So with where John is, the lowest he can drop to is 8th before Brainerd. So if they can get that car in the countdown, they can continue the performance and the momentum that they built up to that point. John Force could theoretically win his 18th Funny Car World title. So it's going to be a very interesting couple of weeks as we get set for that, to see who's going to be in the car and to see what they can do. As for the race itself, the big highlight of the race is without a doubt probably going to be the incident involving Ron Capps during round 1 of eliminations. Facing off against Gary Densham, he would have what he would find to be a pedal fest. As he hit the throttle, the car would go up in smoke into a pedal fest. He would try to get back into it. He saw that Gary was also having issues, so he tried to just ease back into it. Wasn't trying to be too aggressive, just get it down the racetrack. The car would end up exploding. He would make contact with the right lane wall, then making contact with the left lane wall. And by exploding, by the way, I do mean the body came off entirely. A very scary moment for Ron Capps. He has not seen an explosion like that in a while. And thankfully, he was able to get out of the car and walk away from the incident. He would have an interview with Bruno Massel of Fox Sports. Here's what he had to say following his round 1 incident.
A very scary moment when that explosion happened. The big question is, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, thank God we got all the new safety stuff in there, because I probably 4 or 5, 6 years ago would have probably, who knows, I mean, especially the head padding. John Force, I know you're at home watching what John and his team has done in the past. Surely made that less on my body, but yeah, we were staging the car and there was some drops, and I was like, oh boy. But I felt like it wasn't bad enough that we couldn't run, and I know Guido was trying to throw down pretty good. Just shook him loose. I pedaled it, and I couldn't get it going. I hear Gary over there, then I knew he was a little bit in trouble, but then he started going again out my window, and I was just trying to get it going again, nothing crazy. And as I rolled in that last pedal, I've been there before. The explosion, the concussion, and the body's gone, and when I'm seeing these trees around the track, it's not a good thing in a funny car, so then I was just hanging on. I don't think I've ever had an accident like that, hitting walls, and just it's something I don't think I've ever done in my career that bad. So I was just hanging on, trying not to hit hard, and after I hit the right wall, it just went left, and I knew I was going to go head on into the other wall, so just brace for it. We've got Guido and the guys are great about the padding around my legs. They got like from IndyCar and stuff, and that surely probably kept my legs from getting hurt bad. So I just want to get out and let my wife know at home. I know she's on NHRA.com and watching, and my family, love them. But all good. I just hate it, God dang it, because Napa, we've finally turned the corner. We're running great, and just felt so good about today and how we're doing, and set us back a little bit. But we got great race cars. Precision guys will get going on another car. We got to get to Sonoma and get through there, but definitely hurt the budget. The owner of me is a little bummed more than the driver.
We're all glad you're okay, Ron. That's all that matters.
Appreciate it.
That would not be the only incident of round one, however. A couple pairs later, Dave Richards, who was facing up against Matt Hagan, would find himself having his own moment. After starting in the left lane, he would hit the throttle and smoke the tires. The car would then snap out of his control, crossing the center line just past the tree and slamming into the right lane wall. Thankfully, Matt Hagan had already passed him and ran down the racetrack to take an easy round one victory. Dave would regain control of the car and coast it down to the finish line, where he would then be pushed off of the racetrack. He would have an interview with Bruno Massel and talk about that even though the car may be hurt, they will have it repaired in time to be back on the racetrack for Sonoma. That would put them under the delay, as they would have to bring out a crane to push the wall back into place, and then would be found to have another delay as rain would move into the area and put them about under a red flag for about 30 minutes. They would then have the pro stock cars be shot up into the staging lanes and it'd be rapid fire mode to try and get the race in on Sunday. I was told there might be a curfew there around 5 p.m. So from then on, it was go mode to try and get the race finished. As for the rest of eliminations in pro stock motorcycle, Chase Van Sant would score the victory in a major shocker in the pro stock bike world. Gaige Herrera, who has not lost a round of competition since the Carolina Nationals in 2023, would lose to Chase Van Sant, ending a 46 round win streak. I talked to Chase Van Sant back during Norwalk, and he told me that event was the first time that he felt comfortable again on the pro stock motorcycle since his incident at Dallas, where he scraped his knee against the wall and had to end the season early. He was not able to do any off-season testing to get ready for 2024, and up until then, he was pretty much getting the bike back up to speed. He made the final round back at Chicago, where in the final round against the Gaige Herrera as well, he would actually match his 60-foot time. I talked to Gaige about that in the media center following that race, and he was surprised by that. That was kind of the first alarm bells that there might be a chip in Gaige Herrera's armor, and that was kind of the first signs that Chase Van Sant might be the person that ends the streak instead of Matt Smith. Ever since then, Chase Van Sant has just looked faster and faster and faster at every single track they went to. When they got to Norwalk, that was when he really looked at his best. He actually beat Gaige's 60-foot times on a couple of different occasions, and looked to be the guy to beat. I talked to Gaige about that after the fact, and Gaige told me then that Chase Van Sant is probably their closest competition, and that if White Alligator Racing could get the horsepower figured out, they would no doubt be able to beat him. And now today, that finally happened, as the streak would now be over and Chase Van Sant would score his first career win in pro stock motorcycle in his sophomore season. As for the rounds, for number 2 qualifier Chase Van Sant, he would go through Jeg Coughlin in round 1, John Hall in round 2, and then face off against Matt Smith in round number 3, where his bike would not start. For the number 1 qualifier Gaige Herrera, in round 1, he would defeat Brandon Linton. Round 2, take out Gianna Evaristo, and then in the semifinals have a bye run due to only 12 bikes being in the field. One thing I'll add in the end of this, Chase Van Sant is believed riding a 5-year older bike than someone else in the category who's complaining about parity in the class. Well, he just beat Gaige. So, take for that what you will. Get to work, like you said. In pro stock, Jeg Coughlin Jr. would take home the win. His first win since Bristol, where it was also his last final round, as well as his last first round win. He lost in the first round of Virginia to Greg Anderson, and then Norwalk lost it to Dallas Glenn. He would meet Dallas in the final rounds today at Seattle and get payback for the last race back at Norwalk, taking the win and the national event win as well, as he looks to continue to build momentum towards his championship campaign. For the number 10 qualifier, Jeg Coughlin would face off against round 1 against Jerry Tucker, take care of him in round 2 against Eric Latino, and then goes through Chris McGahey in the semifinals, as the McGaheys looked very impressive throughout this weekend. They have struggled for the past, probably season and a half. Has not been the season that they have been wanting, and this weekend was very much a good sign for that team. It was talked about during qualifying that Chris McGahey legitimately thought of parking one of the cars just to try and figure out what was wrong. Looks like they don't need to do that, as this looks to be the timing that they needed to get the cars back up to speed. For number 13, Dallas Glenn, round 1, he would take care of Greg Anderson. Round 2, go through Matt Harford, and then take out Jeg Coughlin Jr. in the semifinals. And then, of course, Jeg Coughlin takes the win in the finals. And funny car, Austin Prock would once again dominate the class in competition. He would have a rematch of his Bristol final round against J.R. Todd. While the result would be the same as before, this would be another momentum-building weekend for the DHL Coletta team as they head back to the track where they scored their lone win of 2023. For Prock, it would be another clean sweep of the weekend, as he would take the number 1 qualifying spot, the Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge win, and his 4th win of the season. In the round-by-round wins, Austin Prock, number 1 qualifier, would have a round 1 bye due to not being 16 cars on the property. Cruz Pedregon would be who would face off against round 2 and take care of, and then defeating Paul Lee, who had a very impressive run this weekend. For J.R. Todd, number one qualifier would go through Buddy Hall in round 1, Bob Tasker the third in round 2, and Blake Alexander in the semis. Finally, in Top Fuel, Steve Torrence go back-to-back in Seattle. Last year at Seattle, he scored their 100th NHRA victory. Heading into this weekend, the season, while good, has not been to the expectation that both the people have come to expect of the Capco boys, as well as Steve Torrence, who has been very adamant about it. Coming into Sunday, he looked as determined as ever and said he did not care who he had to go through. He was not losing this event. In the final round, he would face off against Sean Langdon, looking for his 3rd win of the season since winning Gainesville and Arizona, and he would have to continue his wait as he would lose to Steve Torrence, who looks to be back on top of the Top Fuel world as he looks to make his own championship claim heading into the countdown in a very ever competitive Top Fuel field. For Steve Torrence, number 1 qualifier, would face off against Ron Smith. Round 2, he would have bye and then defeat Doug Coletta in the semis. For the number 13 qualifier, Sean Langdon, he would have to face up against Johnston Ashley in round 1, go through Josh Hart in round 2, defeat Antron Brown in round 1. A really good weekend for Josh Hart after not qualifying at Norwalk. He hired a new crew chief for the car, or co-crew chief, and it seems to be what the team was looking for. And the semifinals would take care of Clay Milliken. So once again, we do have the video highlights to go over. Let's look at that, and then we can look forward to Sonoma.
They lead. Van Sant 17. Gaige Herrera is 0.25.
He's quicker on the track.
It looks like he might have enough, and at the finish line stripe, it's Chase Van Sant. The streak ends in 11 races. 672 at 201 miles an hour by 43 thousandths of a second. And that is how you get a first career win.
Well, Chase Van Sant has in his hand what he has want for all too long. You did what seemed to be the unthinkable here today. You beat that unstoppable force in Gaige Herrera. Not only did you beat him on the track, but on the tree. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's unreal. You know, Jerry Savoie told me I was going to win one of these things, and he said when I did, I was going to cry. So, Jerry, I'm sorry. I'm fighting it back, but I'm not going to do it. Man, I can't thank this team enough, the whole White Alligator Racing team. I mean, Jerry for giving me the opportunity, Tim Kalungian for allowing me to be out here and all his hard work, Keith Nichols, man, you're the man. You absolutely work his butt off to make this motorcycle go fast. Man, my dad, Trick Tools, Transfluid, Ready Parts. Man, JC Speed Shop, this is just unreal. I can't believe it.
Congratulations. Let it soak in.
Thank you.
Green lights on both sides of the tree. A 0:10 reaction time for Jeg Coughlin. And at the finish line stripe, it is a win for Jeg Coughlin, a third on the season. 6:53.6 at 2:09, marginally outrunning the 6:54.1. But this is a guy who now, for the 68th time, has won in Pro Stock with a 10 reaction time.
It is all smiles down here for the natural, your Pro Stock winner, the 68th of your career. Jeg Coughlin, you grew up in a racing family where this is what you guys did. Did you ever dream you were holding 68 of those?
Yeah, no doubt. You know, in total, counting the sportsman wins, it's 87, I think, this week, which is unfathomable. Honestly, my goal as a kid growing up was to try and win one national event in each of the years I competed, and you know, I've been very fortunate, very blessed. My father Jeg and everyone at Jeg's, and over the years we've had so many great wins. But fast forward to today, how about this elite team? And my hot rod really came around this weekend. We changed some things out on Saturday, and the car started accelerating really well. And these last two rounds, this thing was on a rail, and it felt great. I didn't even see my wind light come on there, so I was a little bit bummed. You know, the next 1,500 feet as I was pulling off, I was excited but also bummed. But you know, congrats to the whole team, man. It's everyone at Skag Power Equipment, Outlaw Beer, Jegs, JHG. Man, we love y'all. Hello to my family back home in Ohio. I love you. Miss you.
The final of Nitro Funny Car at the Northwest Nationals. Tire smoke for Paul Lee and a win light for Austin Prock. Man, this kid is just unbelievable. A 69 reaction time. His brother Thomas pumps his fist. 387.5 at 334.57 miles an hour. It is a bulldozer, man. That is a bulldozer.
For a rookie funny car driver, he is getting all too accustomed to this whole procedure down here as he claims his 4th funny car title. You know, Austin Prock, you and I talked back in the pits, and you said, I've been 60, 70 on the tree, and you said, I just need to do my job. And you did just that. You won 69. You trusted the car, and you trusted your dad and your brother to give you that Wally here today. How good is it to know that you've got those two men in your corner each and every time you stage up?
It's amazing, man. There's nothing better than racing for family and racing for John Force. We didn't just win today. We doubled up with John Force again here in Seattle. He told me before I got in here, he said, hold the fort down for me, and we did just that. So just an amazing day. Another great day for this Cornwell Tools Chevrolet Camaro SS. I mean, this year's just been unreal, man. I can't even, like, put into words all the success that we've had. It's just been a blur, and I've just been hanging on, and I wasn't leaving that great all weekend, but I sure was consistent. I was 67, 67, 69, 69. So all stayed shallow, and man, whoa!
And it did. He was out first. He was ahead of Langdon at the finish line stripe. It is Steve Torrence for the first time in a calendar year. A 396 to an engine expiring 417 for Sean Langdon. Steve Torrence has finally broken through again.
Well, the last time 4-time world champion Steve Torrence won, he was only a father of 1. Now you're a father of 2. It has been a full calendar year. I couldn't even tell by the celebration that you were excited. Talk about that run for you, because you had a lot going on in that car.
Man, I'll tell you what, you know, you take these things for granted when you get them pretty often. And we're taking this one home to my new baby girl. My wife's birthday. We've been a while. Hell, I'm out of breath. I didn't do nothing but hit the gas like 3 times. Sean Langdon, Khalid Air. Those guys been bad to the bone. I told you earlier I was trying to take him out all day. But these Capco boys, Redline Oil, Toyota, Mac Tools, we don't have a lot of partners, but the ones we do, we think highly of, and they're the best. This is pretty cool, man. 1 year to the date. I was kind of thinking we wasn't going to be able to win one of these for a while. And Richard Hogan, Bobby, sometimes us Torrances are hard to deal with, but them guys handle us pretty good, and thank you guys. How about all those guys at home from Capco that are keeping us out here? We appreciate y'all.
So that is going to wrap up the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Once more, if you guys enjoy the content that we provide, then be sure to subscribe to the channel today so you don't miss any of the upcoming content as we head into the summer months with, of course, Brainerd of Sonoma in the run-up to the 70th edition of the U.S. Nationals. If you want to follow along, be sure to follow us on all social media pages down below. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at MightyMac03. be sure again to subscribe to the channel. And until Sonoma, this has been Mighty Mac, and we will see you next time.